they're really gonna block me one on one all day. Like they're really not gonna and I think at one point I asked the center, I was like, y'all not gonna help him? Y'all not gonna come over here like at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
Like, and they just kind of laughed
You
it off.
guys don't have iPads on the sideline to
I'm
see what I'm
like,
doing?
that's the last time I'm gonna ask. I'm just checking. I'm just making sure.
All right, all you Texans fans, you got a lot to be excited about this year. CJ Stroud, obviously, otherworldly. Everybody's falling in love with this quarterback. People are falling in love with the team. I mean, it's going to be a great story if y'all keep winning. And there's no reason to think you guys won't keep winning. This team kind of grew up last week with the run game, with the way CJ played, and he's been playing that way. The game in Tampa was great. But to go on the road and do that in Cincy, hats off to them. You guys got a lot to be excited about. Do not forget this group of rushers. I know you don't, because Will Anderson's a lot of fun to watch. I know the stats haven't been there, but he's a good football player, trust me. And Jonathan Grenard is making a lot of noise, but not getting a lot of attention for it. And another guy who's one of my favorites to watch on film is Sheldon Rankins. I don't think he gets enough credit. He's a big part of that Jets defense. Had some quality years in New Orleans, but I got to say, what he did last week against Cincinnati was his finest work. I mean, you guys don't win that game if it's not for Sheldon Rankins, forcing that pick down the seam, sacking the red zone, just pressuring, scratching, clawing all day. Can't wait to get him on. But before that, I wanted to ask you guys a question, Texans fans. I've asked Detroit fans this. I've also asked the Bengals fans this. You guys don't have as much history in your franchise. You're a younger franchise. But I'm wondering if you could have 5 Texans players. You get 5 tickets. You fall into a lot of money. You have a suite at Energy Stadium, unless that's called something else now. They changed the name of that stadium. But you got a nice suite. You get 5 suite tickets that you can fill with your favorite Houston Texans. They got to be great players, maybe. They got to be great hangs. You can go any which way with this answer. We got some really interesting ones from Detroit and from the Bengals. So let us know what you think. 5 tickets, big old suite. Who's it going to be? Former Texans or current? Let's do former Texans. Okay, those guys got work to do on Sunday. So Sheldon Rankins, one of my favorites. Can't wait to talk about the game last week and everywhere else he's been, because he's had a really good career. Whatever you're looking forward to this football season, there's one thing that pairs well with every great moment: an ice-cold Miller Lite. Whether you're at the stadium playing fantasy football or watching the game at home or the bar, Miller Lite is here to make your football season taste like Miller time. No matter what team you're rooting for, there's one thing we can all agree on: football brings us together. A connection like that deserves to be celebrated, and Miller Lite wants you to celebrate with me during the NFL Conference Championships in January. Right now, Miller Lite is giving you the chance to win a trip for 2 to come hang out in the Green Light studio. You'll fly out to Charlottesville, Virginia, and tune in to the NFL Conference Championships with me and the Green Light crew. Then you'll sit in on a live Green Light podcast session. Just go to MillerLite.com/GreenLightSweeps to enter. From kickoff till the final whistle, you can't go wrong with the Miller Lite in your hand. Celebrate Miller time with the Green Light podcast. Go to MillerLite.com/GreenLightSweeps to enter for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. Starts 11/6/23 and ends 12/4/23 at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. Must be a legal resident of one of the 50 U.S. states or Washington, D.C., 21 years of age or older. Void where prohibited. See official rules at www.millerlite.com/greenlightsweeps for entry, instructions, odds, prizes, and restrictions. All right, just the guy. I mean, everybody's paying attention to CJ Stroud. They should. The guy is unbelievable. But if it wasn't for CJ Stroud, Sunday was the Sheldon Rankins game to me. I'll never forget the way he played Sunday in a big spot for the Texans, and now he's joining our show. Sheldon, what's going on, man?
Man, not much. You know the grind of the week. Just finished the day of practice and little break between, grab some lunch and get some treatment, stuff like that, and then get ready for these meetings and watch the film. But you know how the week goes.
You being a vet, man, I felt like that was a big win. That not only like, hey, you beat the Bengals, the whole thing, but I feel like your team's growing up, and you've been on some good teams. Actually, first thing I would say is tip my cap to you. You beat me in my last game as a pro down in New Orleans in the
Yeah.
playoffs, the Eagles
Oh,
Saints.
Philly. Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and you've been on these teams, man. You've seen what you need to be to make noise late in the season. Do you feel like this was kind of a crossroads for you guys?
Yeah. So I think just being around the teams I've been around and the players I've been around and coaches, you understand. And I've said this to the guys before, like you can just feel when something feels different. Just throughout the locker room, throughout everything that's going on. So being able to go into Cincy and understand it. I mean, they were playing great ball. Joe Burrow had finally found his groove, and they were starting to look like that Cincy that's knocking on Super Bowl doors. But for us to go in there and play the way we played, like you said, it's almost like being the guy who's been around, but you can explain some things to young guys, and you hope they get it, you hope they understand it, but you never know till they're in that moment, and then to watch all that unfold and watch everybody like seize the opportunity, because that easily could have been a game where. Especially down the stretch where since he was able to make some plays, that could have slipped away from us. To watch those young guys alongside myself just stand tall and not bat an eye, and really play great, winning complimentary football. It was great to see. It's great to be a part of.
And road wins were my favorite. You know,
Absolutely.
just shutting that thing down. Only thing you can hear is each other celebrating after the game, right?
100%. You coming up to the sideline, the fans on the front row saying all kind of stuff. Absolutely. Like, yeah, like you relish those moments. Because again, it's just you and your teammates. It's just y'all. There's nobody else to turn to. Like, it's just y'all. So, when you're going out there, you're making plays and you come back over to the sideline and those fans are upset and saying all type of stuff. Like, you just relish in those moments. There's no feeling like that.
So I just wanted to ask you about what makes these rookies you got. Because the CJ, obviously, whether it's throwing the pick late and then just not batting an eye, as you put it, coming back, or getting that drop on that 2-minute drive, you're like about to be at the 50-yard line. You get a drop, uncharacteristic from the young guy, and he doesn't blink. Not just him, but Tank Dell taking that shot over the middle, man. He got lit up, and I was like, well, that might be it for him today. And he made huge plays down the stretch, especially on the offensive side of the ball. What's it like seeing those young guys grow up fast?
Yeah, it's fun to watch because when you first get around them, OTAs and training camp, you see the potential.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's always a different level of ball when it comes to real games, live bullets, and everything's on the line. So to watch them from week one to where they are now, I mean, the evolution has been crazy. I think they don't look at it as something that, oh, we've got time, we'll figure it out. I mean, for them, it's right here and right now. And I think it takes a different type of guy to have that approach, to have that mindset, and not only have that mindset, but then to go out and execute at that level, down in, down out, make plays consistently, and understand what comes with that. Understand that when you're making those plays, when you're doing that time and time again, you're putting that target on your back. Now guys are game planning for you. Now guys are paying more attention to you. But and for young guys, that can be tough for them to handle sometimes. The success. How do you handle that? Do you allow your success to cripple you and ride that high, or do you go back into the lab and continue to find ways to get better, to make more plays, to be that guy for your team? And these guys, I mean, every week they're doing something extraordinary, and it just keeps growing. Their confidence keeps growing, and it's special to be a part of because they're only really scratching the surface.
Yeah, man. And you personally, you don't seem like a guy who likes to toot your own horn, but when I posted, I tweeted something this week. I don't think you're on Twitter, but I said this is Sheldon Rankins game film in a GIF, and I threw up a Stone Cold Steve Austin GIF, and I see your T-shirt, bro. So I got you pegged, man. But I said, man, he just opened a can of whoop ass on those guys. It was everything. It was from penetrating the A when there's no space in there, and you're just flying up the field, to the bull jerk on Kappa, to the spins, to I even think you guys are so good up front because you seem so unselfish, in the red zone on that draw play. Nobody's running up the field. Everybody's doing their job. How fun is it to play with this group right now? And to you, was this your best game of all time, bro?
Yeah, so I'll start with that. Yeah, definitely my best game of all time. 3 sacks. I haven't had 3 sacks in a game since high school, my junior year of high school. So, yeah, it was fun to do that. I think, I missed a couple games with the injury, and then being able to come back and, I think that first drive, I just felt real rusty. I'm like, man, it's okay. Just don't get too, just understand football. Just continue to play. Find your rhythm, all that. And it was like 2 drives later, I was like, oh, I found it.
Mm-hmm.
I found it. And then I remember we're probably somewhere in the third quarter, and I just remember thinking, I'm like, they're really going to block me one-on-one all day. Like, they're really not going to. Like, and I think at one point I asked the center, I was like, y'all not going to help him? Y'all not going to come over here, at all? Like, and they just kind of laughed. And I'm
like,
have
iPads on the sideline?
I'm like, that's the last time I'm going to ask. I'm just checking. I'm just making sure. And they didn't. And, I've played Kappa a good bit of my career, so I kind of understood, his sets and everything that's going to kind of get him. And, for me, it's always, and you know this as a rusher, it's chess, not checkers. It's always thinking 2 or 3 rushes ahead just to, set this up, set that up, whatever it may be. So, for me, once I realized, I'm like, y'all really just gonna leave me on this island all day? Cool. I'm really going into the toolbox. I'm really pulling out everything. Yeah. I mean, it was, and it's crazy because I had obviously the bull rushes with the snatches for the sacks, and then I had to spin to force the pick, and then even there was on the last drive, the play before Tyler Boyd caught the long pass. I went stab club on Kappa, and it didn't I got through there, and the tackle kind of came back late and pushed me. Joe Burrow ran out, whatever, threw an incomplete pass. But I remember getting down in my stance, and I was like, sack, ball out, win right here. I just remember and the rush was clean. It was a clean win. The tackle just kind of came back and pushed me. But I just remember that's the zone I was in, because I'm like, if y'all really gonna leave me one-on-one all day, I'm doing this to this man.
And you can't do, because I love your spin move. Me and Beau Allen, who broke down your film on our YouTube channel, you can check that out. Yeah. You get plenty of good attention from our operation here. But you got a great spin move, man. You always have. And I think when you're not getting that slide and you're being disrespected that way, that's when you can use that thing. Because to me, a spin move was always dangerous because you get cleaned out,
100%,
especially inside.
100%. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough inside sometimes. I mean, some centers, they don't slide all the way one way. They kind of play it in the middle. So I mean, yeah, spinning, sometimes you're blind for about a second and a half. You don't know what's going to be there when you come around. But like I said, once I realized y'all not going to help him at all, cool. Mm-hmm. I knew it was only a matter of time before I went into the bag and grabbed that one. It had to come out. That was a game where it was just perfect moment, perfect everything. And I mean, you, like I said, just playing this game, you have those games sometimes where you're like, yeah, I can do whatever I want right now.
Yeah.
And it's all going to work. And it's just, and I was flowing that day.
Yeah, dude. And I think for you, you probably take a lot of pride in this, man, not coming off the field, because, you want to be in on every down. You talked about rhythm. I used to, especially late in my career, when I had to come off the field on some first and second downs, I was like, man, and I talked to Brandon Graham about it recently, because he's He's playing a little bit less, being older.
Yeah.
But, like, having that rhythm where you know you got 3 downs to set things up, you probably take a lot of pride in that.
For sure. I think that's like, and it goes back to what I said about, chess, not checkers. Like, it's to be able to have those consecutive plays of just going against a guy over and over and over again. You're able to feel how he's, where he's sitting his weight at. Is he leaning more inside? Is he leaning more outside? Okay, where are his hands at on my body? Okay, cool. Like, you're able to get a feel for all that and then understand, like, okay, I need him to lean a little more this way. I'm going to throw this rush. I know it's probably not going to hit, but I'm going to throw it anyway just to get him leaning for the next one. Now, boom. Now I come back and win clean inside. Now we got, boom, sack. Boom, big third down win. We get off the field, like stuff like that. So, yeah, the rhythm aspect definitely goes, hand in hand with just being out there consistently, just being able to have those consecutive plays of, like, understanding, like, yeah, like, this guy's got to deal with me all day. We're going to play. It's the long game. It's not – I'm not going out there. It's essentially like a pitcher playing a whole game. I'm going out there feeling it out early, and then once I really get rolling, I'm like, okay, I got them figured out. Now I can throw everything I got. I've been studying them all week. This is holding up. This isn't holding up. Okay, great. What is holding up? I know it's going to beat that. Let me go do it.
Yeah. How about we had Will Anderson on the show, and the first thing I said when I turned off the tape was like, man, I wish I was his vet. He just seems like the greatest dude to play with, and for everything that, like, all the hype around him, like, he's humble, he wants to learn, you can tell. And the thing I like about his game is, and some people look at the sack numbers and say, oh, where is he, this sort of thing. He's a good football player every down, and I wonder if you could speak to what it's been like having him in the room and being able to be a vet for him and him being patient, because that stuff will come.
Yeah, for sure. I think me and Will have a great relationship. I think I generally only pretty much play on the left side, and he does too. So I mean, we pretty much we always running games together, all that kind of stuff. And I'm always helping him just with anything he wants to know or just imparting any kind of wisdom on. I mean, he's from the day he's got here. First guy in the meeting room, notebooks open. He wants to learn. He's always asking questions. He's really hard on himself. He wants to get better. He's not a guy who, I'm this high draft pick, like, I can do what I want, or, like I said, where I got time to figure it out. Like, no, for him, it's about imposing his will on people every day. Whether it's practice, whether it's a walkthrough, whatever. Like, I mean, there are times we have to slow him down just because, he's that amped up about winning every rep. And like you said, I mean, yeah, people look at the sack numbers and be like, oh, well, he isn't. Like, no, like, that stuff takes time. Like, people don't get it's hard to rush in this league and get sacks. Like, it's one thing to beat somebody, but then, like, quarterbacks are moving all around now. Like, it's a whole different ball game of, like, trying to get sacks, like, in this league. Like, there are a lot of good rushers who don't have great sack numbers. Like, that's just kind of the way this league works. Everybody can't be, a 15 sack guy, right out the gate, type of thing. So, I'm always talking to him, like I said, he's hard on himself. I'm always telling him, like, dude, like, you're disrupting every game.
Exactly.
You're disrupting pockets. Like, every chance you get, like, if they block you one-on-one, like, you're winning that. Like, I know you may not feel like it because, you didn't walk away with a sack. And for him, he's always been elite and great. Whether, at Bama, he was always the guy who had all the numbers. So for him, that's always gone hand in hand. Like, beating somebody and the numbers that come with it have always gone hand in hand. And I have to tell him, I'm like, it's going to come. Yeah. Like, it's just the natural progression of being a young player in this league sometimes. Like, and I think I was talking to somebody else in the room the other day, and we were talking about it. I think the difference between college pass sets and NFL pass sets, whereas college players they just do what their coaches tell them to do. Like, set to this point, this is how we set as an offensive line. Whereas in the NFL, they set for who they have to block.
Yeah.
Like every offensive tackle is they're setting you different. They're setting Von Miller different. They're setting Will Anderson, like setting Cam Jordan different. Like it changes week to week. So you may watch tape, you may watch 8 different games and see 8 different sets
Exactly.
just because like the individuals they go against. So like, and that's what I'm having to tell him. I'm like, yeah, like it's okay right now because you're a young guy. People have seen what you do, so they're setting you a little differently than you've ever been set before. So it just takes some time. You got to figure it out, and that's what I told him. Like, and once you figure it out, oh, like the floodgates will be
Oh
open.
yeah,
Like
light switch.
yeah, like
They
it,
come in
and
bunches.
absolutely. Like, and once you figure that out, it's like, oh, that's all I had to do. Oh, great. Okay, cool. Like, and now you're back to just being you. You're not stressing it. Like, and you understand how to defeat pretty much anything anybody throws at you. And like I said, he'll get there. But I mean, even as of right now, I mean, he's one
He's
of
a
the better
plus.
defensive ends in this league. Like, I mean, first down, second down, third down, doesn't matter when it is. Like, and he plays hard.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that like will cover up a lot as a young guy. Just understand that, like, man, if you just play with effort, like run to the ball, like all that stuff, like, man, you'll make a lot of plays along the way while you figure it out. And then once you really figure it out, I mean, shit, like the sky's the limit.
Time to cash in. And speaking of guys who are going to cash in, love John Grenard. I know that's your dude. I think he was at Louisville with you for a
Yep.
second, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Speak to just what kind of a rusher he is, because I don't think enough people pay attention to him.
Yeah, so yeah, he was a freshman my senior year at Louisville. And I told him then, like, I mean, he was a skinny kid, like, you know what I'm saying, not hadn't doesn't really I think he played, like tight end or something in high school. Like he was a skill guy. Like he didn't really, understand like, just, hand in the dirt type life yet. And I told him, I'm like, nah, you got it. Like you just stick with it. Like this is gonna make you a ton of money. And then to be back with him now, like I always knew he had the ability, but to watch him put it together this year, it's been special to watch. Like I mean, he can pretty much do any move you want, whether it's power, he can beat you around the edge, he can win inside. I mean, his arm length is crazy, So I mean, I think, and then on top of that, his confidence is extremely high. So once that confidence and your ability are at that same level, like like you're seeing it all unfold, you're seeing it happen. I mean, he's like you said, if God willing and he stays healthy the rest of this year, yeah, that bank account's gonna
That'll
look
come.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Bank account's gonna look crazy.
Here's the big mystery to me, man. Like, because I've been a free agent, you played some years in this league, you've done a lot of good things, but you got a chance and you're making good money this year, so congrats on that. You deserve it, but you had a chance to probably go a few places. And I looked up when you signed with the Texans, and it was in March, I think. So, when I signed with Philly, I don't think anybody knew that we were going to make that run in 17.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a feeling we were going to be better than people thought.
Yeah.
When you signed, you hadn't drafted Stroud yet.
Right.
D'Amico's a new guy. What did you see? Because you guys brought in a lot of good veteran players.
Yeah, so I think for me, it was two things really. I understood the situation down here. I understood the picks they had. I understood they were in a position to get a quarterback. I knew that was going to be the case. Just seeing where they picked at, and I didn't anticipate the Will Anderson part of it till later. But I knew they would get a quarterback, and I assumed at the time it would have been CJ, and I was all on board. Like I thought he was that dude at Ohio State. So that, and then this defense. I've played in this defense. This is my third year in this defense.
Right. With Burt.
I played in it with the Jets under Saleh, and I love it. And I think coming here, my last 2 years, I didn't because of our a lot of talent we had up with the Jets. I didn't get to rush as much as I wanted to, and I knew coming here I had an opportunity to be a complete 3-down guy again.
Yeah.
And for me, you understand, like you get to that point in your career where you understand, like, and you play long enough to know, like, in this league, like if you are if you do something for so long and do just that, like this league will put you in a box.
Yeah.
And they will label you as that. And, so for like the past few years, like, my first year with the Jets, I was a rotational guy, played some third down. And last year I was pretty much a first, second down only guy. Like, so I knew I'm at that point in my career where I still have really good years left. So I have to make the most of those and understand, like, I have to put myself in a position to still prove to people that I am a 3-down guy who can dominate run and pass. So that played a part in my decision to come here. And when I got here, like I said, and I already knew Grenard, that was my guy. Malik Collins, who's our other D tackle, like I've always watched him from afar. Really good player, really good rusher inside as well. And then, like I said, then once we got Will, I was like, oh, this can be really special. Like I said, we drafted CJ. I knew, okay, like, I understand young quarterbacks, you never know how quick the maturation process happens. I mean, obviously with him, it's, he's, light years ahead
30 years old out
of
there.
yeah, where anybody, could have imagined. And then, seeing the talent they placed around them, our offensive line. I mean, it was all starting to match up and become what in my head what I envisioned for myself, what I envisioned for this team, and to watch it all play out. Whether it's been, like I said, how well CJ's played, how well Will's played, everybody else has been playing, and then, like I said, to get myself back in there and to continue playing like I did last week. I mean, it's all coming together in my head and in reality. So it's been special to be a part of this. Like I said, I don't know if I could have drawn it up like this in March, but I'm definitely glad it's all come together like this for sure.
Last question is a quick one. You guys are going to have one of the biggest games and probably the buzz-wise. I mean, you've had J.J. Watt coming back. Like, dudes are coming back. The atmosphere is huge. The history is being celebrated, even if it's only been 20-something years, the Houston Texans. But you guys are in all blue this week. I'm a major uniform guy, especially when I played. I was like, I don't want to be out there looking shitty. What's your favorite combination of the Houston uniforms? Do you like the red lid? Do you like the whites? Do you like the all blue? What makes you feel good?
So
out there?
I love the red helmets. I love the red helmets. Those are smooth. I do like the red jerseys too. Louisville guy, so the red. That's my thing. But the blue on blue we're wearing this week, that's cold. That's cold blooded. That's cold blooded. Yeah. But if I have to go with anything, I'm always a white on white guy.
Me too, dude, because it makes you look faster.
Yeah, always a white on white guy. I wear white cleats. I wear white cleats all the time. Like white on white. Like there's nothing like watching tape and watching me cook a guy when I got white on white. Oh man, there's nothing like that.
Dude, I ate enough fines wearing high white socks during my career to put my kids through college, bro. We go up to Seattle at night. I'd be like, fuck it. I know. But we look sweet out here in the light.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I'm already a big guy. I'm like, let me at least be swaggy out here. And that white on white is everything. Like I said, and I'm a white cleat guy too. Yeah, it's perfect.
It's tough, dude.
Perfect there.
Well, you look great out there. You're playing great out there, man. I'm really glad we can get you on. Seriously, I had as much fun watching you rush last week as I've had watching anybody play this year. So keep it up. And tell Will we see him over here. We see him. We haven't forgotten him. Keep pounding the rock. That rock will break eventually for him.
Absolutely. I got you, man.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, man.